Hey guys, it's Mark, and I'm the part-time British guy. Kind of realized while looking at the credits of Thunderball that here's a movie that takes place in England and the Bahamas, both part of the UK and the Commonwealth. And let's just start with the military stuff first, because you guys know how much I'm into the military. So, the first thing that I kind of noticed that kind of caught my eye, but it kind of also kind of got to me, was this scene here where Dval goes into the RAF base, and I mean, it's clearly an RAF base. You know, it's got airfield traffic, it's got a sign, all visitors to report here. The unfortunate problem is the Royal Air Force military police officer has to give one of the worst salutes I've ever seen. I mean, obviously the military police officer or the actor is unaccredited, and I get that, but if you're on an RAF base, and that's the second question I have, what RAF base was this at? I realize it's 1965, it's the height of the Cold War, but if anybody knows, please leave a comment. I'd love to know what RAF base this was at, because there clearly are Vulcans there, and although you don't really get to see the crew that well in the briefing scene, you kind of see them from a slightly side angle, but to the back slightly, and you really can't see their faces too well. I found this interesting on the scene where the bus, or I think they call it a lorry, comes up to the airfield, because that's not a map painting. You know, I found it interesting because as the crew members get out, okay, they're starting to get in, and this guy right here, I mean, he just looks kind of young. You know, I mean, he looks obviously older, like he's in his mid to late 20s, but I kind of think that might be the pilot. I'm not 100% sure. The guy who's right behind Dval, you know, or the guy impersonating Dval. And that kind of leads me up to the next thing. So again, if you guys know what RAF base it was, please let me know. I'm really curious. So the next part, of course, is the Vulcan bomber scene. But the interesting thing here was the co-pilot, and I believe his name is Michael Culver. And if you don't know that name, and it's like, well, Mark, what's so big about this guy? Well, he appeared in Thunderball, and he appears, I believe, as the co-pilot. Okay? Because you can see his face here. But he also appeared in an episode of Space 1999 where he plays an Eagle pilot. And then it's kind of a situation where he really becomes internet famous because Darth Vader says this line.
Apology accepted, Captain Nida.
So, yeah, that is the guy, Michael Culver, who played Captain Nida. So, I guess playing military parts really isn't his forte because he keeps dying. But I thought it was really interesting simply because, you know, he's unaccredited in Thunderball. He's a pilot in Space 1999. Obviously, this guy is trying to be an actor and stuff like that, you know. But it was Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, that just the one scene just makes him internet famous, and I just found that really fascinating. So now, kind of the other interesting thing. And before we get to like the places, because there's a lot of like film locations I want to talk about. The other thing, which was the guy who plays Dval. And I was really kind of wondering, you know, what this guy had to do or how much money he was paid to do this part. Simply because if you think about it, the first thing he's got to do is he's got to kill himself. Then he blackmails Spectre. Then he has to impersonate a Navy commandant. He's got to kill a Vulcan bomber crew. He's got to get killed himself. He's got to get murdered. And like 3/4 of the way through the movie, he's got to look like a corpse. So that's a lot of acting. And that was kind of the thing about this one particular scene. The diver, I don't know if it's Sean Connery or not, but he takes off like the oxygen mask and you see the guy who's playing Dval dead. You know, he's like, okay, all you gotta do is look like a zombie, eyes wide open, mouth open. Hopefully they did that in one take, but it was kind of an interesting thing because, again, 1965, there's no CGI and none of that stuff. So I'm thinking literally this actor had to, you know, do this scene. Obviously, there's a diver there ready to give him a regular hose so he can breathe, so there's no danger. But I was just kind of curious if anybody knows how much this guy got paid. Please let me know. I'd love to be able to convert that into what it was in 1965 to what it is today. Now let's talk about film locations. Obviously, shrublands or whatever is some sort of health resort. I doubt since 1965, and it's been going on 60 years, the building's even there. I mean, the building might be there, but it's probably not shrublands. But if anybody knows where this film location was, let us know. You know, leave a comment. Also, one of the things that I found out is that the Bahamas, Nassau, literally made things a tourist attraction. When they did the filming scene of the Vulcan underwater, co-pilot guy gets killed. Okay, they left that there, and yeah, it doesn't look anything like it did originally in 1965. Obviously, the things have disintegrated and worn off, and it looks like a lot of PVC piping. But yeah, that's kind of a side-by-side comparison. That's what it is then. That's what it is now. But it is a tourist destination. It's like a dive destination for people who are into scuba. And a lot of people go to the Bahamas to scuba dive. Another thing is Largo's house. There you see it in the film, and there you kind of see it the way it is now. A lot of locations have been, you know, made into tourist attractions. You know, the grotto scene. Also, and this was the one thing I couldn't find, but I'm sure it is popular, and it has to be, like the final scuba scene, where they have that big epic scuba fight between the good guys and the bad guys. What was that dive site? Because there obviously there is, like, I don't want to say it's wreckage, but there are structures underwater there. So that has to be a point of interest. So if you guys know, leave a comment. And again, if you know any of the different things, you know, what RAF base do they use? I'm really curious. Obviously, they used people who are unaccredited. You know, in the particular case of the RAF Sentry, the military police officer, they obviously, I mean, that was kind of the thing that I didn't understand. I mean, you're on an RAF base. What is the problem? Unless, like, the Royal Air Force was like, no, you're not using one of our soldiers or our airmen as an actor. But it would have been perfect. I mean, he's already got the uniform. He already knows how to salute properly and stuff like that. You know, nothing for nothing. The guy had a 5-second scene, but that salute that just irks me to no end. But I would love to know what the RAF base was. If anybody knew where Shrublands was or where it was filmed, by all means. And like I said, I've already gone over some of the pictures from the Bahamas, from Nassau. And an interesting tidbit that I learned, the very end scene where Largo's boat explodes, they used so much explosions, it literally shook the windows in Nassau, in the Bahamas. And people were like, what the hell's going on? So, again, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you really liked it. I had a lot of fun making it. I just found it kind of interesting simply because, like, where were these scenes filmed? And I'm going to do other videos like that. So if you guys like it, by all means, feel free to hit that like, hit that subscribe button. That's it. That's all the time I have. I'm Mark Stise. Thanks for watching the video. Bye.
Sir, identity, please, sir. Thank you, sir.
Hi, I'm Mark, and some might call me the part-time British guy. Why, you might ask? Well, very simple. While researching a book that I'm helping to write about an American who joins the RAF during World War II, I pretty much became fascinated with everything British and everything to do with the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth. As always, I post videos on the 1st and 15th of the month, and a few in between, but always on the 1st and 15th of the month. Now, if you like my videos, consider supporting my channel on Patreon. You could do so as little as $1 a month, and it helps go a long way to keep the channel up and running. And as always, hit that subscribe. I'm Mark Stise. Thanks for watching the video. Bye.